So I am 4 weeks into a 100-day challenge to improve my health. And I have set myself 2 goals during this challenge. The first one is to significantly reduce my consumption of ultra-processed food, which I was horrified to find stood at about 80% of my diet was ultra-processed food before this challenge. So starting off with a bit of meal prep here, and I'm putting a whole chicken with some lemon in the slow cooker, about 8 hours on low or 4 to 5 hours on high, depending on when you need it. I think I stuck it on high because I needed it. Well, I thought I needed it pretty early on, but best laid plans. My intention was to have 3 meals. I normally do have 3 meals a day. However, work was really, really busy, and I ended up making my breakfast, which you can see here, so that it was ready for near on midday, and it became lunch. And I ended up having 2 meals and 1 substantial snack. So these are some protein rolls that I saw on TikTok. And I would describe them more as like a protein muffin, like an English muffin. They were really, really yummy. This is the first time I made them. So I adjusted the recipe because I didn't want so many. And I used 3 eggs, 300 grams of cottage cheese, which I blitzed up. Then to that I added a little bit of salt and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and then 300 grams of oats. And then you basically just mix that all in. It forms a reasonably wet mixture, which you can basically see that coming together really nicely here. And then you want to put some greaseproof paper, some baking paper onto a baking sheet. And then you basically kind of mold this into balls. And I really wish that it took this long as it did in the video, but it didn't take too long. But I made about 7, and they were quite substantial muffins. And then you just sort of squash them down a little bit and then put them in the oven, 180 degrees Celsius for around 30 minutes. My oven's pretty hot, so I think it was about 25 minutes. I added some chia seeds on top. And then to utilise the oven being on, I'm also prepping my jacket potatoes. So I just put them in the microwave for a little bit. Anyone else clean their microwave? Basically once it's nice and steamed post jacket potatoes. So then now the muffins are cooked, and they looked really yummy, and I was super impressed with this. I would absolutely 100% make these again. And also my kids really like them. You could taste, in my opinion, you could taste the cottage cheese, and I really love cheese. I love cottage cheese. But my kids had them toasted with jam, and they really like them. So it's kind of like sweet and savoury mix. So I'm basically making this with, I've got some spinach here, which I have a microwave steamer. And even though it's washed spinach, I always like to wash it again. And then I have a hot muffin. I'm adding real butter. That's definitely been an improvement to my diet with less ultra-processed foods. I'm not having any kind of low-fat margarines. And then I'm just getting rid of some of the moisture from the spinach. And I have some poached eggs. Now, I don't have a fancy egg poacher, so I just poach them in boiling water, and then that generally means they're not as pretty and as well contained. They go all over the place. And then I've got some cherry tomatoes as well, bit of sea salt. This was really nice. I really like the texture of the muffins, and I'm not calorie counting, but I did work out how many calories were in the muffins. It was about 250 calories, and they really were quite filling. Now, immediately after a meal, I often have a sweet tooth, sweet pang. So I've been having some dried dates, 1 or 2 dried dates, and I'm finding that is really helping. So this is my second meal of the day, which I ended up eating just before I picked up my kids from school and nursery. So originally it was going to be, I was going to have salmon and king prawns with rice, a kind of fried rice, egg fried rice, but I already had the jacket potatoes done. So I switched things up, and I've got some carrots, I've got some runner beans, which I've put on to cook. Now, I always wash my salmon steaks, and then you can kind of feel if there are any bones in there, which there were in this case. I'm just kind of pulling those out because I absolutely hate getting bones in fish as you're eating it. There's nothing more ruining for a meal, in my opinion. So I just steam my salmon in the microwave. So I've put it in the microwave dish with a lid on because it bursts and spits out everywhere. But I put that on for about 2.5 minutes for 2 salmon steaks. And now I've basically got some garlic in here with some real butter and some king prawns. I've got a whole packet of king prawns. But these are super high protein, super low calorie. I don't calorie count, and I find it really hard to calorie count. I don't have time for it. So I've got jack potato, I've got some butter on top of that, and then I just have my drained, steamed veggies, boiled veggies here, which I'm adding on. I absolutely love carrots and runner beans, so big favourites here. Always eat things that you really like. Don't force yourself to eat vegetables that you don't like. Take the skin off the salmon and then basically tip these really juicy, yummy king prawns and all of the kind of buttery, garlicky goodness onto the side. This was really nice. I hadn't anticipated having this meal, but it was really, really tasty, really filling, loads and loads of prawns. Now, I didn't end up eating the chicken that day, but I just want to show you how good this is for like meal prep. Just chuck this chicken in the slow cooker with 1 lemon. You don't need any stock. Chicken produces lots of its own juices anyway, and that just kind of fell off the bone. I had that then ready. So basically for my substantial evening snack, I had Greek yogurt, had banana, and I had honey. And just to show you, before I actually had that, I did an evening workout with some weights. So it was a dumbbell workout that I did on YouTube. I'm really enjoying these dumbbell workouts. It's not something that I've done previously. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and follow along for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.